Hi, students of Senior Seminar. It's Professor Davis. I haven't done a video in several weeks, so I figured I'd do one today just to finish up our last few weeks of class. Today is Monday, April 22nd. We are in week 15, our last 2 weeks, the week before our last week of class, and you guys are almost finished. I have completed grading all of the results that have been submitted. I believe there's a few more that were submitted, the last few days. I'll go in and check. Many of you did not have any really major corrections or any corrections at all. A few of you had some, and you've probably either turned them in already or resubmitted, but I'll get to them. But in the meantime, you should be working on your discussion section. And as a recap, as you're working on this discussion, just know that the discussion section of the paper basically brings everything together. You're providing information about the findings of your research that you did and comparing and contrasting it to your literature review. Basically, the articles that you reviewed before you did your own original research. And you're letting the audience know, the reader know, well, my findings of my research compares to these particular researchers from my literature review, and also my findings contrast with these particular researchers. You're just contributing to the existing literature out there, and now you have existing literature. So that particular section of your discussion paper, discussion section, that particular part, of your discussion section should be about 4 pages, max 6 pages. So don't skimp on the discussion analysis. You're really going to be talking in depth about what your results mean, right? And how they connect to the existing literature that's been out there that you read about to understand this topic more. So please don't skimp. Make sure you're citing your literature review articles. So we'll know that you're using them. So it's very important. If you need help knowing how to do that, please, guys, know that all of the I have posted sample papers from previous classes in Module 1. So many of you have been asking, where is it at? Module 1. Go back to Module 1. Look at the sample papers and see how different students have written their discussions so you'll understand what this means. The other parts or sections of your discussion paper include a brief, like a half-page blurb on limitations to your studies. Limitations include maybe having too little participants, inconsistent setting among participants, research bias. A lot of you did convenient samples where you interviewed your mom or you just found somebody on the street. You didn't do any random type sampling. Some of you did. You actually sampled your fellow human development students or students in 499. So that was, a little more, research oriented, or, it was still a convenient sample, but you did a little bit more than just ask your neighbor. But that's okay too, right? You had to access your participants the best way you could for this project, and I completely approve of it. But that would be a limitation to the validity and reliability of the study. Okay, so put those things in there. 2 to 4 limitations. The next part of your discussion, you want to discuss ideas for future research, 3 to 6 suggestions of maybe, if I did this over, I would, research this as it relates to this topic or that, right? There's lots of ideas out there, right? Or even you would maybe use a different method, instead of doing a qualitative, maybe you'll say, I may have gotten some different results, or, I would like to see if I got the same results if I did a quantitative study versus a qualitative. So those are some ideas of future suggestions. The next part of your discussion draft is the public policy implication. You're going to talk about how your topic and the results can affect your local or state community. So what do your results mean? If you're doing something on adolescent depression, if your results say that adolescents are more depressed these days, maybe you could talk about how it's important for maybe mental health providers to have, provide more access to to adolescents who need help, with their depression, or, maybe we need to change some laws about how to, work in the school system with individuals with adolescents with depression. So talk about public policy and the implications based on your research results. And finally, your big conclusion. You summarize all the sections of your paper. All of them, right? So it should be about 1 to 2 pages. The other subject sections, limitations, future research suggestions, public policy, a half a page to a page. So all of this is listed in the syllabus. It's listed in the module. I just talked about it today, but all of these things have been available all semester to know how to write this, but I'm just reiterating it here. All right. So the next thing, I did put an announcement in our class about this last week, but it's important for you to go back to chapter 3, or what I would call the method section, and you're going to have to rewrite that. No, you're actually going to have to just change the tense. If your method is still reading as what you plan to do, you need to change it to what you did. And if there's any details that are different, please change it. Please tell us what you actually did. If your intention when you wrote the method in the beginning was to complete your data gathering, gathering your data in a week, but it actually took you 2 weeks, indicate that. Make sure you're writing in past tense. If you had intentions of interviewing 6 individuals, but you only got 2, make sure you change it to the researcher interviewed 2 participants for this study versus 4 to 6, right? So go back and change that before you put it in your final paper. The other thing you must do is write your abstract, okay, which is 150 to 250 words that gives the reader a little synopsis about what your research was about. This helps individuals like yourself and any other people who are looking for articles for, to write papers like you just did, to see what is your research about. Okay, so that's what an abstract is, and you'll be writing that, which is a little different than the summary or the conclusion. The abstract kind of gives us an idea of what you did, what was your study about. Okay, so make sure you go back, and that goes on page 2, right after your title page. Go back to the syllabus, and it outlines all the parts of the paper. Make sure you have every part in there. I have corrected and revised and have given you all suggestions for each section of your paper. Please make those corrections before you submit your final paper. Your final paper is due week 17, final exam week, no later than May 11th. I know you guys graduate on that day, so please turn in your paper early. Many of you have already turned in your discussion, and I'll be, reviewing those this week and next week. Even if I haven't reviewed your discussion by, let's say, next week on like a Tuesday, go ahead and start putting everything together, right? I'm going to work really hard to get that discussion feedback to you as soon as possible. Please put your discussion in in your workshop group next week. It's due on Sunday. Go ahead and post it on Monday. Hold on, I have my dates. On Monday, April 29th, right? Week 16 discussion, your last discussion of the semester. So please put your draft of your discussion in week 16 workshop group so your peers can give you some suggestions while I am, giving you suggestions. And then once you get my feedback back and, your classmates' feedback, go ahead and revise if needed. Add that discussion to the last part of your whole paper that you're going to submit. Do some editing. Make sure everything is right. Make sure it's in APA format. Many of you have been writing in first person and I've asked you to correct it and I haven't seen a lot of correction. So I do not want to see I did this, I think this. I don't want to see that. If I do, you'll get points taken off because I've told you to take that out, okay? The only section of the paper that I'm okay with you maybe briefly using I would be at the beginning of the paper when you're writing about the purpose of your study. Some of you gave a personal story. I'm okay with that. But for every other part of this paper, it needs to be formal, research oriented. So the researcher, if you're identifying yourself, you identify yourself as the researcher or the investigator. Do not use I. That is too, like, I don't know, creative writing, right? This is research. When you read all of your literature reviews, did you see the author write it in I did this? No, you did not. It was very formal. Your paper is formal too. So I have told many of you to change that. And I haven't seen a lot of corrections. So just know if I see I in your final draft, I will take points off. So I'm just letting you know that now. So please fix that, okay, if you haven't. All right, so guys, please, APA format. I want to see good in-text citations. I want to see your reference page that goes right after your discussion, the last part, like that's the end of your paper. It needs to be an APA format, okay? I've already corrected that for everybody who didn't know what to do. If you need help, let me know. After your reference, you need to make sure you have your appendices if there are any that you needed. Paper should be about 15 to 25 pages, all right? You can get up to 100 points on this paper, all right? 50% of your grade. So make sure you are correcting, revising, and you just don't put, all the sections together without, using the feedback that I've given you to correct. Some of you don't have corrections. A lot of you do. Okay. If I say you're good, then you're good. If I say fix this, fix it, even if it's one thing, because that could be a difference between an A and a B. All right. So I will grade as fast as I can. Please submit as fast as you can. And hopefully we can get done before May 11th. All right. But if you need until May 11th, that's okay. If you're worried about your grade, let me know and I can give you a little projection. Okay. Because everybody's doing great. So continue to participate in the discussions. You only have this week and next week, 2 posts a week. I'll update those grades this week so you'll see where you are. Okay. And you guys are doing great. And I'm really proud of all 70 of you. You guys are doing wonderful. Some of you are a little behind. Catch up this week. I know you're ready. I know you're ready to walk across that stage. So good luck to everybody. And it's been a pleasure. And I'm here through week 17, final exam day, to assist you in any way.